Hey guys, it's Nicola from Singer's Secret. Now, one question that I get all the time is about practice. How often should I practice? How long should my practice sessions be? Can I over practice? So what I'm going to do for you today is take you through a basic structure for what I do in my own singing practice so that you can sort of copy the structure if you need to, and it'll give you an idea of how to get the most out of each time you go to do your singing practice to make sure your practice is really effective. So the first thing that I do before I sing a single note is I do two things. Firstly, I like to do some deep breathing to get my diaphragm working. So I can't lift my arms right up today because I've got my shoulders all strapped up, but I lift my arms up and I do some really deep breathing, stretching through my diaphragm area and kind of getting my body ready for singing. And that's really a really important step because it does sort of get my mind to focus. It's kind of a meditative thing almost, and it really helps me prepare from a breath point of view, connecting my breath to my singing and mentally to get ready for the singing session. Second thing I do is I always have water with me. I'm constantly drinking water during my practice sessions. Excuse me. Alright, so I also multi-beverage. So basically I have a cup of tea, which is usually a herbal tea. Peppermint tea is fantastic for reducing phlegm. If you have a problem with it, if you've got a sore throat, you might like to try licorice root tea, which kind of numbs things out and it does help soothe a sore throat. But I drink that with water. Next thing I do is always gentle warm-ups to get my vocal folds ready for singing. I never, ever, ever, ever skip a warm-up. It just does not feel good and you could potentially injure yourself. What I usually do is I put on, I've collected over the years a lot of different sort of easy warm-up backing tracks. If you want some, you can actually grab some at singersecret.com because I've got some up there for free which you can grab. But I put them on while I'm doing a mundane task, usually like washing the dishes, and I just vocalize. But today, for the sake of this video, I'm going to take you through a basic kind of warm-up of something simple as to what I would do. Now when I'm doing this, I'm really concentrating on my breathing and being gentle with my voice, so I'm not pushing it, I'm not trying to do too much. I'm just kind of feeling how my voice is feeling that day, because remember, you as a singer, you are a living, breathing instrument, which means that you've got muscles at play, you know, you're prone to sickness and all sorts of things. Your body is your instrument, so it changes from day to day how it feels. So just kind of, you know, let your body ease into the practice session. So I'll do something like this. Immediately, because I haven't warmed up, I'm finding that my lower notes, this is an F and I can go a lot lower than an F, but today for some reason my voice doesn't seem to like these low notes. You. So I might spend a little bit more time on my low notes a little bit later. So I'm just going to continue with this exercise just so you can get an idea. Deep breath in. My diaphragm. One thing that I always remind myself to concentrate on is opening my mouth, because I am a big mumbler. It's an Australian thing, I don't know, it's we slur all of our words together, but I always find that I need to concentrate on my articulation all the time. It's a constant battle. Even when I started doing these warm-ups, I felt like I was I have to remember to go and give myself lots of space in the mouth. So it's just these sorts of kind of warm-up. This is what your warm-up should be like. It should be, you know, remembering to do all these things, focusing on eliminating bad singing habits, and just getting your voice ready to practice. Now sometimes if I've been singing a lot, and by a lot I mean I usually do about 6 hours of singing on the weekend at gigs. So, you know, gigs are generally 3-hour sets of 45 minutes each. So I'll be doing those, and then a couple of times a week, and then on the weekends, and then during the week I'll do some extra singing as well. So it'll be like, you know, a good couple of hours each session. But you do not have to sing that much to begin with. Just build up to it. So start off with an hour singing practice 3 times a week, just to start with. So if I've been singing a lot, I find that I don't need much of a warm-up. It kind of, my voice is already quite fit and ready to go. But if I haven't sung for a week, for example, sometimes I need like even up to 40 minutes to warm my voice up, depending on my body. So you just got to kind of listen to your body and not push it too quickly, too early. Then I jump straight into whichever song it is that I want to learn. I usually try and tell my students to do their technique first, but if you're anything like me, then you just gotta want to get singing the good stuff, right? Like the fun stuff, which is singing songs and learning repertoire. And so, you know, learn technique as you go. And this is, I'm going to show you how I kind of break down my songs while I'm learning them and incorporate some of my technique in there at the same time. So say I'm learning Blue Moon. This is how I go through my repertoire. And by the way, I always practice my repertoire with backing tracks. And the reason I do that is because you're only focusing on what your voice is doing. You're not focusing, splitting your concentration between your voice and what your hands are doing. So I think that's really quite an important thing just when you're first learning a song. So let's just say I'm learning Blue Moon. What I'd do is I'd sing through it a couple of times like this. Blue moon, well, that's a chord progression. You saw me standing alone, without a dream in my heart, without a love of mine. Okay, so what I might do then is I may tape myself and listen back and see if I can hear like any pitch inaccuracies. So if I'm sitting a little bit flat, it means I need to concentrate on my breathing, or I may kind of not like how I've placed my notes, so my phrasing might be a little bit off, or I found that I've done things like I've kind of gone Blue Moon, which isn't a really Australian thing to do. Ooh, we kind of go ooh, Blue Moon. It's part of the accent. So I really watch that in my training and my practice, and recording yourself and listening back can really help. So if I was to go through this again, I might do this. Blue moon, blue moon, you saw me standing alone. Nicer O sound. Without a dream in my heart, without a love of my own. Sweet ba-ba-ba. Yeah, so I thought the second time through when I just sang that then sounded a little bit more polished than the first time through. What I will do then, once I've learned the general gist of the song, I'll actually go and hunt for different versions of the song. So 3 or 4 other artists singing the same song, and then I will sing along with those artists. And the reason this is such a powerful technique is because they will sing it completely different to the way that I would originally sing it. So their phrasing is going to be different, so how long they hold the notes for, you know, the dynamic is going to be different. Everything, it kind of gives you different ideas as to how you could potentially make that song into your own. So depending on how far along I am with the song, whether I kind of know it reasonably well and it's an easy song to learn, I'll go and actually find these other artist versions within that same practice session. If I'm just kind of learning the song for the first time and I really don't know the lyrics, then I'll just spend time learning the lyrics and making sure I kind of understand the song and the meaning of the song and kind of getting it into my head first. Then the next stage of what I do with my songs in my practice, because I sing jazzy, kind of bluesy sort of stuff, I'll always scat over it. So I'll always improvise over the melody. So, anyway, so doing this step, for me and the type of music that I do, it's a really crucial step because it does two things. It makes me remember the chord progression because you kind of hear the changes as the music's kind of progressing through the chords, and it allows me to come up with even more ideas. So using my voice as an instrument, like a horn, during scatting, allows me to come up with more ideas for when I improvise the melody while I'm using lyrics. So to give you an example, after scatting, instead of just going blue moon, you saw me standing alone, which is the traditional melody, I can now go blue moon, you saw me standing alone, without a dream in my heart. So I've kind of made that song my own by learning how basically scatting over it and improvising over the melody. And it's a really powerful tool to make, basically for getting any song. It doesn't matter what genre or type of music you sing, jazz or not. It is a really fantastic technique to sort of go through in your practice so that it really widens your sphere of possibilities for that song and how you can make it into your own. So basically those are the steps that I go through when I'm practicing, and then if I'm doing another song, just repeat those steps. I also have a last step. How many steps are there in that process? I also have a final step. If I've learned a new song, I always go and write the chart for it after I finish doing the practice, which means I go onto a program called Sibelius, which is a music notation program which allows you to basically create like a lead sheet with just like the vocal line on the top, and it's got the chords across the top, which is enough for the majority of musicians to play that song like and accompany you. So I will always go and create a chart for that song after the practice, and the reason I do it after the practice is because I'm kind of digging the song at that time. I've added it to my practice because it's a song that I enjoy and I want to learn, and if I like it enough, then I'll kind of do the chart, and then it gets done and it goes into my gig book and it becomes part of my repertoire. So that's my final step for my practice. So yeah, that's what I do. If you are going to do the copying the artists, like finding different versions of the song and copying other artists step, which is a really awesome step to do, I've actually done a separate video on how to sing like your favourite artist. It's basically called what I call the copycat method, when you copy another singer exactly as they've sung it to sort of learn their style. I will link to that video below if you want to check that out next. But yeah, I hope this has helped you and it's answered some of your questions about practice. If you do have any other comments or questions, please just hit me a comment down below or flick me an email over on singerssecret.com. And yeah, thank you for watching, and if you would like more free singing training and those free warm-up backing tracks, head on over to singerssecret.com and you can grab them there. I'm Nicola Milan, and I'll talk to you again next time.